Welcome, students of Howell and Livingston, to second episode of How to Create a Google Site Fun with Functions.
So you probably remember from the last video, we just kind of gave you a really quick introduction on how to actually create a Google site. And then we just showed you basically how you can enter some text boxes. Today, we're going to spend a little bit more time showing you how to actually make your table of contents, showing you how to put the vocabulary in there, and actually give you a couple of different options. We'll also talk a little bit about how to make individual pages and how to do some hyperlinks. So hopefully this is helpful for you. And of course, if you got other questions, let us know. But otherwise, just sit back and enjoy.
Okay, guys, so I'm going to share my screen right now. And as if you remember, we did our name up here, and we named it, and we also shared it. Because if you want a grade for it, you got to share it with your teacher.
Yes,
and we
please make sure you share it with us.
And put your block in there, because Mr. Howell has a lot of blocks. Okay, so we named it with Fun with Functions, and that was worth so many points. And remember, when you do this, you probably should have out the what? Rubric. Okay, so this was worth points, and then we did the About Me part. Now, here's the key. We want to make a table of contents. So they have it wonderfully over here. If you scroll on the right side of the computer, it says Table of Contents. So you can click that, and it puts a box up here. And do you see automatically it said About Me, Augusta Livingston? Okay, that's because when I put About Me, I put it as a title or a heading. Do not, if you want the heading to go in here under Table of Contents, do not use normal text. And I'll show you that in a minute. So what's going to be our next section? Our next section is going to be vocabulary. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have decided, this is where you get a little creative, is I'm going to use this layout to the right here. And now this layout has where you can put something in here. You don't have to use this layout. You can use a different layout, or you could just use a text box. But when you go over here to put the title, make sure when you hit this drop box, do not just put normal text. You want it to be a heading or a subheading, so it will automatically pop up there in the table of contents. So if I hit heading and then I do vocabulary, and I say for linear exponential. Oh, we have to put quadratic first, sorry. Quadratic. Well, you don't really have to, but it'd probably be good. Did I spell that right, guys? Okay, so then if I click off of here, if you notice up there, it's already popped up there. Isn't that wonderful? So it'll link to this. If you were like, once we start adding more and more things, and we keep putting our table of contents, then you'll just be able to click on that link, and it'll take you right to the section you want. So now here's your choice. You now can put your vocabulary document in here. So to add vocabulary, we're going to pick one of these different sections. I chose this layout. And first thing I'm going to do is put the title. So when we have a table of contents, it will go right there when I click on it. So I could do title or heading. It doesn't matter, but not normal text, absolutely not. So I'm going to go vocabulary or what, linear. And you can bold this, put different colors, all your creativity time. Okay, now also what I'd like to do is add a button. That means that you can press it and you'll go right to the document. So I'm going to press a button here over to the right, and then what's my button going to be called? Vocabulary or linear, quadratic, and exponential. There's several ways you can do this and play around. And I go to my document, and I go back to my Google document, I copy the link up at the top, and then when you open your link and you put your link to your Google document here and you insert it. And now you got this button, and I'm going to move my button over here. You can just pick it up. Okay, there we are. And now our table of contents or about me went away. You see that this somehow we got this not in a text anymore. So let's change that. I need to change that from normal text to a title. And now I've got my vocabulary and my table of contents right here. I got them in two.
And one thing I just want to point out for those of you that are wondering like what we did with the button, one of your requirements is that you actually do vocabulary. And you know, you could type the vocab in directly on the website if you wanted to, but what a lot of people have chosen to do is actually make like a separate document. So what Ms. Livingston did is she actually made a separate document with all the vocab, which I think is that second tab right there to your right. Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah, this is in my Google Classroom. If you wanted to get it, and it was just to help you.
Yeah, I'll probably do that actually. So, but see, this right here is an actual page that was made, and so the point that we're making here is you could do all your vocab here, and then basically you can link this document back to your website. And there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. The button's kind of nice because you can just sit it wherever you want to. You click the button, it automatically goes to this link. You could also choose to embed it, which is over there on the side towards the top. And if you do embed, which is next to the drive icon, it's gonna actually put like the whole document on the page so that you can see it. Either way is going to do the same thing. Like, we don't really care. That's just where you need to, you know, don't make yours look exactly like ours. Have some fun with it. Whatever you think looks good, do it. If you want a button that's a little bit cleaner than having that huge document, then do the button. That's up to you.
And I also picked the layout when I was playing around trying to figure out how I did, because I did these last year, but I was trying to play, what do I want to do? If I got this thing over here now with the layout I picked, you could have just put a text box with this. But I've got this here. So you know what I did with this one? I thought it'd be fun. I went to YouTube, and you don't have to put this in there. This is just some little fun thing that you could put in there. This is a rap one. You might check them out first before you just go putting the song in.
You could also put a picture or something there if you wanted to. So again, you know, this is up to you. Or on that particular section, like Ms. Livingston was saying, if you pick some of the other layouts over there, you may find yourself needing like 3 pictures right now. You know, if you pick a different layout over on the right-hand side, you might need 2 pictures. You might not need any pictures. You might put 3 videos. Again, it's up to you.
You could put a slow picture. You can make something in Desmos and copy it over. You can be as creative, you know, creativity, whatever you would like to make it look good. Now, when I did this earlier, I found one. I guess I'm not picking the same one. So, Pop Goes the Weasel is always a good one. Okay, so here it is.
Yeah, there you go. And click select down there at the bottom left. I think that's what messed up last time.
Oh, yeah.
That's what happened. Yeah. Okay.
So here we go. And now you got the quadratic formula in there. So you can do things like that. You can make a picture just to make it jazzier. It's your document. So this is following the rubric. Remember, this part of the rubric is 60 points by putting your vocabulary in here. You've got to have 5 vocabulary words for each
unit. Units 2, 3, and 4.
And also, Mr. Howell and I both Mr. Howell developed, got a list of vocabulary words you can pick from, and that is also on Google Classroom. So it all help you pick the words, the ones that you want to have in your document. It's going to help you when you get to Algebra 2, and I got to review all these functions again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm deciding that I'm going to delete this part, embedded part. I like my button. You can have an embedded one if you want, but I'm going to delete this over here. And then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Howell because he's going to talk about how you can add pages.
All right. One of the things that we have noticed is, some people like to just kind of make a string. So like literally you could just keep adding sections to this page, and your table of contents up here would just keep adding on those different sections. And if you want to do that, that's fine. But this is a little more flexible than that. Like you actually can make this more like a traditional website that you are accustomed to. So like, for example, before I even talk about pages, you have themes that you can pick from as well. So over, like above the text box, you'll see insert pages and themes. So if you go to themes, you've actually got a couple of different things that you could pick, and it kind of changes the overall style of the website. So again, that's up to you. If you find one that you just like the way it looks, you can do that. Or if you want to keep it simple, you can do that. You can also come in here and change like the font style. If you want stuff to be like more of a heavy look, a classic look, or light, which is what it was on to begin with. And then you can also change like the color scheme that shows up on here. So again, we're not putting any requirements there. That's up to you. Obviously try to make it somewhat pleasing since we're going to have to look at it. But, we're going to leave that up to you. But pages is something that's probably worth looking at. So if you go to pages here, you'll notice it just says home because that's all you've got right now. It's like your home screen. But there's a plus button on here. And so with that plus button, you can click it and you can add a new page. So let's say I wanted to actually put my vocabulary on a separate page. I can call that new page vocabulary. And now up here at the top, I have an entire new page, and I can put my vocab words here. And then you come up here and you click home, and it goes back to that initial screen. Again, we're not saying you have to do this, just showing you that you actually do have a lot of flexibility with this. You can have as many pages as you want. At the end of the day, we just want to make sure you do everything that's on the rubric. So as long as it's labeled accordingly, we shouldn't have any problems. One thing that I will point out here, though, and I'm going to call this vocabulary 2, just so that we don't get confused. And here, I'm going to, I'll just leave it like this for just a second, but notice like you have the 3 dots here. This gives you even more options. Like you can go in and you can click add subpage and actually make like little drop down menus. So again, a lot of the features that you see on typical websites, you can do that here. We're just not going to go in depth showing you how to do all of that because not everybody's going to want to do that, but we are encouraging you to be creative. And at the end of the day, don't forget there's an undo button up here. So like if you mess something up, you can always click undo and go back to where you were before.
And also, you can change this as we go through and add more sections. You might be fine with not having pages. And then you see that we're going to have a lot of different types of things that you're going to add to this website. So you might later decide to go to pages. It's easy fix. You can, change from table of contents to pages. Or you might have some things on the table of contents, but then you might decide you want to split some other things up to pages. It's your document and it's a living document. The whole idea for us to do this is that you'll have it to go with you forever when you have your as your site. So again, if you need it to refresh your memory about functions, hopefully this will be a good resource for you in Algebra 2. And also maybe you could, one of the things we first planned where you could add subjects in here instead of vocabulary. If you really like this idea of keeping your notes this way and it helps you remember, oh, why don't we do science or world history as a page? And you could be throwing things in there for your other classes.
Right, and if you think about all the different teachers that use like Google whatever to do their assignments, you could be using something like this to organize it. So like you could be putting in your documents, you could be putting in, one of my students messaged me earlier and was like, hey, can I use Google Slides, but like put it in the website? And my response was, well, yeah, if you want to use it, like, I don't know, maybe do your vocab, for example. If you wanted to do your vocab in like Google Slides, sure, you could do that. And then you could come on here and link it just like we did with the definition page. So that there's a lot of different, options that you can do there. One thing I did want to point out, this table of contents, as far as I can tell, whenever you put it on a page, it's only going to link you to stuff on that page. So if you start creating like other pages on your website, you'll actually have to go in and like insert a link to those other pages. So for example,
You have to go back to insert.
that's what okay, so right here. So if you go to pages, down here, this plus sign, there's new page, but there's also new link. You can click new link and notice here that automatically it pops up like home and vocabulary too. So you could actually put a URL though right there. So you can go in and use this link feature on like different parts of your website to link to different websites like outside of your websites. Maybe there's just a website you really like for any reason. You could link it here, or you can actually link once they exist the other pages that are on your website.
You might link it to Georgia Standards of Excellence, and get your different things as a resource there. This is very powerful to really help you organize your materials.
And I just think the best thing you can do is come on here and just obviously make sure you meet the requirements on our rubric, but have fun with it, explore, add stuff. We're not going to take points off because you put more on the website. So have fun with it, make it look as cool and as interesting as you can. And we'll just be here to guide you along the way.
Okay, so that is for completes the first 2 episodes of our Fun with Functions, and look forward to the next week assignment. And please drop in our times that we have on our schedule in Google Classroom of if you need individual help. We are here. It's not a vacuum. We're not leaving you out there by yourself. You need to just reach out to us, and we'll be glad to get you either on Teams or Hangouts or somewhere to get you help.
Take care, everybody.
Take care. We're here for you. Thanks. Signing off.